Hello, hello, hello. I am Teresa Parker with Teresa Parker Art. And this evening we're going to be painting this cute little Santa's Martini to get us into the mood for the holidays, which are coming soon. This will be painted on my Patreon page, and you can go to patreon.com, look up Teresa Parker Art, and you'll find me. I do hope to see you there. Thank you. Bye. Hello, I'm Teresa Parker. Thank you so much for joining me this evening to paint Santa's Martini. Tonight we will be using cad red, white, black, hooker's green, some kind of bright green or maybe even white for the leaves. And I think the background we're going to use like antique white. I think that's about it. If I change it, we'll have it in the list below just in case with all the names so you know. But it's going to be super easy. And let's go ahead and get started. I'll move my camera. Be right back. Okay, let's get started on painting Santa's Martini. I am going to use cad red, white, black, hooker's green, and actually I'm going to try this tonight just to give it a shot. It is a craft paint. It is terracotta, the color Terrazzo Tan, and that is it. And I think I got it at Hobby Lobby, and this was a little expensive. I know they have a little cheaper, but I just thought I wanted to try it because I've had it around for a long time, and it's going to be our background. So I'm going to go ahead and we're just going to, let's dip it into this a little bit, and let's grab a little white. Let's lighten that up. I kind of want it to be lighter. So I'm going to go kind of maybe 50-50 on the background, and just to kind of give it a little personality. I don't want it to be white, and I didn't want it to be too bright. I'm going to add a little more white to that. We're going to really lighten it up. Only because I just want a little color. It can be anything. I mean, this would be cute with a blue background, or even a darker background with maybe different colored lights in it to show that maybe you're at a bar, Santa's bar, with all of his elves. And I added a little too much paint to my brush, so I'm just gonna go over that a little bit with some white there on my brush. And I am not making this a solid color. Some places are dark, some are light, and probably darker down towards the bottom, and lighter towards the top. And I'm kind of going around all of my lines. I am literally just touching the brush to the canvas. I'm not painting in any direction, trying to make circles. I'm crisscrossing, kind of touching it just to give it a little texture, a little personality. And we'll do, oops, that's a little too dark. I want to do darker at the bottom, but not quite that dark. So I'm just going to add some white on the canvas and carry it down. Make it pretty easy here. Go around all my ice cubes and my little holly leaves. Okay. Hope everybody's doing good tonight. I just was ready. It is, I don't know, you might be watching this at another time, but it is November 1st. So Halloween's over and time to get into Christmas mode. Okay, Thanksgiving mode and Christmas mode, the holidays. I know that some of the Christmas movies have already been on for all of October. And that's a little too early for me, but November 1st is perfect. So you'll see it's a little rough, and this paint actually has a little texture in it. So it's going to be kind of cool, I think, when it dries. We will see, and I will let you know. Okay, so you can carry it around on the edges if you'd like to make clean edges or not. I didn't this time because this is actually going to be mine, and I'm going to sit it up on my bookshelf, and you won't be able to see the sides. So I'm going to go ahead and clean my brush out. And I think next step, let's start with a round brush. I'm going to use a little round brush. This is so old I can't read the size, but I think it's about a size 6. So any brush you're comfortable with. So I'm going to take the cad red, just a touch of cad red, and I'm going to put a lot of white into it, and a little bit of the brown white mixture I'd already made. And we're going to make that not quite pink, almost pink, not quite pink, more red than pink. And I'm going to start by putting it kind of into the bottom of the glass where the drink would be sitting on the bottom. That's pretty pink. I'm going to add a little more red. I don't really want it pink. Okay, and that's in the bottom. And I'm going to kind of bring it up towards the top here. Next to that ice cube, into the ice cubes. I'm going to add a little bit of white in here. Kind of lighten it up because the ice cubes have hit it and have been expanding the liquid a little bit. And I'll drag the white down in here a little. Now all I'm doing is really, I am just touching this brush to the canvas. I'm mixing in a little white, a little red, whatever color you really want yours to look like. It is a, well, Santa's little martini, so it will be, to me, more red than not. And I'm going to add a little more red down here in the bottom, I think. Just so the bottom's a little darker. And the top can be a little lighter. And we'll put it right up against the edge there. And it goes to about right here on the inside of the cup. And I'll put that in there. I'm going to add a little white because I really want it to be lighter up here, where the light is hitting it, and it's hit the ice, so it's kind of watered down a little. And I had painted over the edge, and I just took my finger and brushed it back in. That's the nice thing about the acrylic paint when it's still damp. So the red is within these little ice cubes here as well. We'll just make it lighter up on top. Now this, I'm going to make this little side a little darker because it kind of goes underneath the hat. Maybe there's a little shadow there. I'm bringing out the red color a little bit more. Yeah, about right there. And the rest, of course, is ice cubes. So the martini's in there, or the liquid's in there. Okay, I'm gonna rinse my brush out and dry it off. I want to kind of blend that a little bit better there. And you can touch yours up. You'll see how it looks. It just needs to look like red fluid in the cup. And I'll wipe that off. Now, I think what we'll do is, let me go ahead and take the Cad Red, and we're just going to paint his hat. And we'll paint it in pretty good. And this will just be the first pass. And then we will put in all the texture, put in the, the folds. And I'm going to kind of go, it's a little rough there because we'll put in the white cotton here soon. And it's not going to be perfectly flat there. And I am still just using my little round brush. Okay. Put it kind of like that, I think. And like I said, we'll add the folds later. Okay, so there's the red. Now, what I want to do is, I'm going to go ahead and make some more of the red and white. And I'm going to make this really, really light pink, really light. I added a lot of white. See how light that is? We're going to give some of these ice cubes just a little bit of a shadow. Not everywhere, we're not going to fill them in. So little ice cubes gets a little light pink shadows. Maybe through here. And up in here. We can give this guy some lines here. Just to kind of show where those ice cubes are and that they have pink in them. Now I'm going to add a little of the red. And we're going to do the same thing with the red. And bring in the red to the ice cube a little here. And we can leave white in the ice cubes as well. And this is actually the top of an ice cube here. And I am just scrubbing it in just a little bit. I have not very, very little bit of paint on my brush. And we'll make a little bit of the red here as well. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take my detail brush, my real thin detail brush. I'm going to get wet And we're going to dip it in white. We're going to make black. We're going to make, sorry, this black paint really inky. Okay, like very inky. See how that is? And I'm going to push the brush down to make it flat. Then I'm just going to outline very lightly my ice cubes. That's the liquid. I need to fill that in. And we'll just go ahead and outline the ice cubes. I'm sorry. I drew a line and quit talking. Let's see. This one, just very light. Doesn't even have to be perfectly outlined. You're just kind of showing where the ice cubes are. And here and here. I'm just touching it just a little bit. And this one. And there's kind of one in the background here that you can't really see. And that actually should be filled in, I think. So we're going to fill that in. I don't think that's an ice cube, not that I can tell. And let's go ahead and pull in the glass as well. It goes across here. And up here. I'm sorry, that was the liquid. I meant the liquid, not the glass. And let's go ahead and I got to fill in a little more. And then the glass part is up here, goes across, and it doesn't go all the way around there, but the back side has a little line in the top, just kind of show that it's there, and bring the round rim around, around. Boy, I say that 10 times. And I'm using very little paint. We're going to bring that down. Very thin line. When I draw lines, I put my pinky on the canvas because it steadies my hand, and then my pinky goes with my hand. Okay, now we got that side. Let's do this side. This actually has 2 different lines, I believe. Yeah, kind of like that. And then we'll do this side like this too. Just very thin lines, barely touching the glass. Up here, we'll go ahead and add this little line in. Oops. This little line in here. And this. And the bottom of the glass is really, we will add something to it. It does not have liquid in it. The liquid ends here, the Martini. I'm just going to outline all those lines I had on the tracer. Then we'll fill them in with the color we need. Down here. Like so. And this will be here. Oh, I need a little more water. Make my paint a little more inky. And right now I am literally just outlining those lines I made from the tracer, which I also used. Come around here maybe, like so. And like this. Go ahead and put these guys in as well. We'll add some more in a little bit too. We'll go over this with white to make it more clear for the glass, but I'm kind of just looking at my lines, kind of want to see what it's going to look like. Okay, so now I'm going to take a little bit of white and a little bit of the black, and we're going to make maybe a medium gray. Kind of like the medium gray, kind of about that color. I'm just going to literally drag my brush and point it right in the corner and just drag it out to fill that little area here in the bottom of the glass. Does not have to be smooth. It needs to be a little, kind of a little rough. And then I'm going to fill in the little triangle area below it, here and here. Making it also a little bit rough there. And let's see, let's go ahead and down at the bottom of the glass, let's kind of streak it in here and here. And I believe that needs to be a little darker, so I'm going to use black, dip in my dirty brush, and let's kind of give this some little streaks here. And maybe a little black, just touch it inside that area. And these need to be thicker, a little thicker. Okay, I'm gonna rinse out my brush. And what I am going to do is, I wanna make a really light gray. So we're gonna take that gray we already made and we're just gonna add more white to it. And it's gonna be very, very light. And we're gonna go ahead and fill in this little area here on the glass. Just bring it down, streak it in there. Even up, got a little black in there, and that's fine too. Makes it look a little more natural. And keep with the gray color and come up this way. And what I did, I'm just gonna bring it in about a quarter of the way there. Got a little black, that's fine. But what I did was I actually carried the tan into the cup, or into the bottom of the wine glass. So I'm going to cover that tan with a little bit of the gray so it doesn't look like the background. And as I'm going across, let's make it a little more white. So it's lighter on the right-hand side. Going in between here to get rid of that beige. Okay. And up in here. And down like right on that side, which I didn't cover. And fill out that in with white. If you touch the black, that's fine. It just kind of makes it a little more streaky. So this I'm not happy with. It's pretty wonky. So let's make this a little more natural round. Let's go like this. I'm just using black. And over here it's a little wonky too, so we're going to go straighten that out more. Okay, and see how that kind of straightens that out. I'm going to use a little more black, and we're going to go ahead and put this line back in because I want to know that's the edge of my cup, my glass, right there. Okay. Now I'm going to use the little more white. I rinsed out my brush. I'm going to use solid white, and I'm going to kind of go right there. I didn't like that darkness there. And I am just pulling that dark into that side of the cup because it picked up black on my brush. And give it a little more shadow. So if you have any extra paint on your brush, you can rinse your brush or do what I did and use it. Just put it somewhere else. And you know, it becomes just so natural for you to do that. You'll just start doing that without any question. Up here, I'm going to use just white. I did rinse my brush. And I kind of want this to be white in between here for the glass. And white in here for the glass. Okay. And under here. And I'm going to rinse my brush. Okay. So now let's go ahead and work on, I want to put in a little gray up here on the cotton because I want the white to really pop out white. So I'm just going to grab some of my my white and my gray, and I'm just going to make a really lighter gray. Like that, maybe medium gray. And let's go ahead and kind of fill in where the cotton is going to be. Or the fluff of the hat, not the cotton, but the fluff. I don't know, it's funny, I always thought it was just like cotton balls. Maybe I'm wrong, so tell me what it is, what Santa's hat has if it's not cotton balls on it. Go up here, I'm just gonna fill it all in. And kind of go make it, you know, you don't want it flat, definitely want it to be bumpy, because it's gonna be bumpy on the cotton area. Cotton balls. Go up in here. And again, I'm just still using that light or medium gray. And what'll happen is once we give it the detail of the cotton ball, then the white will really pop out on the gray. Kind of like when we use gray or blue for snow. Helps the snow stand out. Okay. And let's bring that all the way down to there. Okay. I think I missed a little bit right here. I missed a little bit of the red. So I'm going to use a little red and a little white and fill in this little space I missed right here, which is part of the drink in the cup and right here. There we go. And I'm going to bring gray all the way down to that point, to the drink. Rinse my brush. Oh, you know, you don't have to rinse your brush unless you already did. We also have to fill in the little ball at the end of his hat. I need make a little more paint. Mix a little more paint, not make it. Okay. And it's dried up a little, so I added a little bit of water to be able to move it so it's a little smoother. And I'm just making it, you know, not perfect. Little round puffs coming off the outside edge, kind of like in the tracer. Or however you want it to be. It can be anything you want it to be. Okay, there we go. Now we're going to let that dry before we do the cotton balls. Over here, I think I need to add a little bit of white in this area. And I'm just dabbing it in to show, oh, you know, a little bit of a light, maybe hitting the glass. And then up here, we'll put a little bit of white in here. And what I'll do is, we'll just drag that, make that black again in a second. And I'm going to make this all the way down in here, white. Oops, too much white on there. Just a little bit of white, and a little bit of finger painting, just to kind of lighten it up just a little bit. And a little bit more red right here. So it kind of has, you know, different colors in it. And I just touched the red and touched the rest of it. Now I'm going to wipe off my finger. I'm going to clean my brush. And I'm going to go ahead and get the black. And let's replace the line I took out. And this line. And all the little lines that I took out. Now I'm going to go ahead and use the black, but I'm going to dip my brush in and really twist it so I get a nice little round end. And let's go ahead and add in some little kind of U-shape, tiny little U-shapes that are going to be our bubbles. And right here, and right there. Kind of anywhere that you want bubbles, you can put it in, and like off to the side. You can even put them in over the ice cubes, and it'll make the ice cubes look a little more realistic if you want. Like up here, maybe. Okay, and like maybe one right here. I think there was one, and maybe right here. Alrighty, now I'm going to rinse my brush. And let's go ahead and add, I shouldn't have rinsed it. Okay, let's use black. And you know, let's go ahead and use a little water and make this kind of an inky black again, so it moves a little smoother. We're just gonna kind of come up here and we're just gonna go through this line that's gonna be the fold of his hat. And up here, this fold. And I'm gonna go ahead and outline the hat. And we're gonna use this to our advantage later. I'm not gonna go over where the cotton is yet, but I am gonna outline the hat. Doesn't have to be perfect. Now I'm gonna dry off my paintbrush on the paper towel, just wipe it off, and then I'm gonna drag some of this black into the hat to give it a little bit of a shadow. So I'm just using that wet paint, kind of drag it into the hat, and also, oops, kind of around the outside here, kind of just smooth it out a little bit. Not smooth it out, rough it up a little bit so it looks more like a crease. See, I'm just dragging that already wet paint a little to the outside there. And here I'm just gonna pull it, I'm gonna touch it and drag it. See how that is? Kind of makes it look a little rough instead of a solid line. I'm just touching it with that paintbrush, flattening out my paintbrush, okay? Then what we'll do is, let's use a little bit more of that inky black, and let's, you know what, let's dip that into the gray, make it a little darker gray here, and let's kind of give it some streaks, just barely touch it, give it some light gray streaks from the crease out. I just touch it and pull and pull up, pull and pull up, just to give it a little bit of color there, just to give it some shadow. And then I think what we really need to do is, I think the outside should be white. So I'm gonna just take my dirty brush and dip it into the white, making it flat. And let's do this kind of a highlight up in here instead of the black. Let's do a little white highlight over the black, like that. Make that a little more white. And then down the side. And it looks a little rough, but that kind of gives it a more realistic feel, I think. And I'm gonna rinse out my brush. And I'm going to use actually that light gray color. And let's go ahead and add a little gray here, a little highlight here. And let's add a little highlight here into the dark. I'm just doing the same thing, just touch and pull with the brush. I want that flat. Yeah, see, so you get rid of the harsh lines. I'm sorry about the dogs. And then I'm gonna put a little gray up in here. Just touching it barely. So it kind of looks like folds in the hat. And I'm gonna take a little white. My brush is still dirty. And I'm just gonna kind of, it's almost a little gray now because I had some gray in my brush. And I'm gonna kind of brighten this up just a little bit up here. Just kind of like there's a little bit of sunshine on it or light on it. And I am literally just touching it wherever I feel like touching it. Now I'm gonna take the black again, flatten out my brush. I did not wash my brush. Just take the black and I'm gonna kind of go on the outside again so it's more pronounced. Okay, like that. And I do think, I rinsed out my brush and I'm going to dip it again in white. I think I want this brighter up here. Shh. Sorry, my dog, he's a Pomeranian. He doesn't know what shh means. And maybe more, a little bit lighter up here. There we go. Yeah, and I like that. And once we make the cotton white, it'll all blend in. Alrighty. So let's see, the next step is going to be the leaves. Alrighty, I'm ready for the leaves. Okay, so now we're gonna take a little hunter green and I'm gonna go ahead and make my brush a little damp because it's already starting to dry out, and I'm gonna use that beige color and kind of mix it in. And a little more green, like even a little darker. You know, you can kind of judge. I'm gonna round off my brush And I'm gonna go ahead and fill these guys in. Yeah, I kind of like that color. I don't want it too dark because then all you would see are the leaves. And let's see, fill that in here. Oops, carried it around to the wrong spot, but that's okay. It's a leaf, it can be different. Let me make that a little more round, a little less paint. And we're going to fill in all these leaves. And we'll make them green, Christmassy. You can even make it a dark Christmas green if you want. I just didn't want it really dark so that everything else kind of stands out. And we'll fill these in over here. And we want to do these because they're behind the glass, the ice cubes. And you don't want to get too much of the green into the ice cube though, because right now it's nice and clean. And it would take a lot of white to cover it if we get into the ice cube. Okay. And fill in these guys here. I just have too much paint on my brush, but let's see if we can get this done here. And I love the little holly leaves. Always just definitely brings out the Christmas to me. Anything green and red, right? I know that Christmas has changed colors over the years. Last year I remember seeing a lot of pink, I think, and things like that. But for me, I think I'm more of a traditional Christmas right now. That could change. So, what's your favorite Christmas? Is it green and red? Do you use a different color? And maybe use different flowers. I know everybody does things their own way, their own likes. Okay. But I love Christmas, and I think my favorite part is the lights. I like putting up a lot of lights. It just seems cheery. Alrighty, so we got those done. I'm gonna rinse my brush. And what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to go ahead and get some black. And I'm gonna round the brush. And now I'm gonna flatten the brush, sorry. We're gonna flatten the brush nice and flat. And let's go ahead and do a little bit of an outline on here. Ooh, I got green on my canvas, didn't I? I might put a leaf there. But we're gonna go ahead and a little bit of thin black line around on the ice cube. And I'm gonna make it a little wet so that it's inky and easier to spread, a little inky. And bring it here. And it doesn't have to be exact because the rest of it will be gray and white. And I'll make this a little darker in here, just a little. Let's see, maybe a little darker in here as a shadow. And even down in here, a little shadow where it's marked on the tracer. A little line there. Let's go ahead and make this black here. And I'm going to use the more inky black. And we're going to go ahead and do the same thing over here. Like that. Let's see. And of course they're ice cubes, so they don't have to be perfect. Like so. And let's go ahead and do these little lines in here. Now I did get some beige in here, so I'm gonna have to go over that with white. And that's fine. I mean, you know, nobody's perfect and nothing ever is perfect, especially on these. Okay, a little more inky black. And I'm going to go ahead and do this one. Bringing it right against those leaves. And over that one. And of course the lines do not have to be straight. Okay. And let's see, this one up here can be dark. I'm just going to touch it a little because I can't get around that corner. Touch it up in here, make this a little darker in there. And a little more paint. And let's go ahead and do this one. Like so. And this one. Let's see, some of these really need to color here. And up and over here. And down. And even though that side's a little dark, that part will be clear. And this will be gray inside. Okay, now let's see, let's use a little more inky black. I see some areas I missed, like right here. I'm going to go ahead and make this black. And up in here. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and make these guys a real thin layer of black up here. And I think that's good. Now, I'm going to add a little water to my brush. And now we want an inky gray, but a really, really light gray. And we're going to make it inky. Let's see. Now let's go here. And what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of drag the brush to give it a shadow. And down in here, we'll give it a shadow in here. And up in here. So it just gets a little shadow. You're just dragging the brush around. Up here, we'll fill in this little spot here, make it gray. And this is kind of shadowed in here, in between the black lines. And this will be a shadow in here with the gray. And up in here. Little bit in there. And then let's see what else have we got. I'm going to flatten the brush out, and let's go ahead and we'll go down here, and this area is a little gray. Oops, I forgot a line, and we'll just make that line gray. That works out fine. And kind of bring some gray down in here, the shadow, and up in here. I think I'm missing a line here. And we'll just add that line there. We'll bring this in gray. And I'm just touching the canvas with my brush. And oops, dipped it in the wrong color. Alrighty. And make this gray here. And there's a little dot there, but we'll go over that in a second. And this kind of comes up from around the sides. I'm just touching it with the brush. Making it rough looking like it's a shadow. On top, we've got a little shadow in here. And a little shadow here. That's looking good. Now the other one, I got my brush wet so I can have a little more inky gray. And we'll add a little gray here and around this guy here. Let's see, we'll go down around the holly. And I am missing a line in here, so I will go back and add those lines for sure. I'll show you in a minute. We'll just put some gray shadow up in here for now. I'm just touching it and dragging it. The brush is almost dry. I'll just give it some gray in here, kind of messy gray. And gray in here. It is really dry, and I'm just pushing the brush onto the canvas. to make it kind of look rough. Let's see, maybe a little gray here. Okay, so now I want to get more of the black, and I'm just going to flatten my brush, dirty brush, into the black. And this, I'm missing a line, kind of goes right here that I didn't carry over with my tracer. Yeah, I think that, and maybe right here is a darker line. Alrighty, I think we're good. Okay, I'm gonna rinse my brush out. And now I'm gonna go ahead and use solid white. And just get the brush flat. And let's go ahead and brighten this up just a little bit into the gray. See how I'm touching the gray? And I'm just gonna brighten up some areas here. And here. This is white. There was a white dot there. You can blend the white in, just kind of make it look more realistic. And let's do some more white here. And I'm going to lighten that up just a little. There we go. And the white here. Now I did bring in some of the beige over here, so I'm going to make that white because the background got in there, and right here. A little bit here. Okay. Now this, I'm going to add a little bit of white too. I'm just going to kind of scrub some white in, just to randomly scrub that in, just to lighten it up just a little bit. And then over here, we'll just go ahead and cover up my background color with the white. And here we'll just kind of go over the gray a little and fill in the white spots with more white, over the gray a little bit, just because I don't want it quite that dark. Then up here, down to here, add in just a little bit of random white. Here's some more of my background that I have in there. I don't want it to show through the ice cube necessarily. I mean, you can, because it is on the background. I'm going to go ahead and dip it back in the black, and I'm going to add my lines back in. I'm missing a line here. It should be a kind of a curved line, and that's okay if it's not. And let's fill in over here, just where it should be black. Okay. Now, I'm going to rinse out my brush because I had too much paint on it. But with the black, make it inky black. We can outline these little guys down here. And put in some dark lines on the inside too. And with inky black, I'm flattening out my brush. And all I'm doing is touching the brush, the flat side of the brush, to the canvas, instead of using an actual stroke. Just kind of touching it to give it the black. And here, this should be black, I believe. It may be this, the back of it. Now I'm going to go ahead and go into some white, and let's just make this a gray. Oops, I need it round. I need a small detail. We're just going to kind of add some gray. And I'm just touching it randomly. And that's gray. Then, oops, I'm going to clean out my brush real good. And we're going to use a little white. And add the white in as well. Just to kind of give it more color. Give it more shape. Okay, so there's those. Now with the white, I need a little more white. Now with the white, let's go ahead and go up here And let's make these guys, I'm just gonna add a little white into here to make it look like it's kind of a bubble. Those little U's we made earlier, I'm gonna fill in the U with a little white, kind of make it look like a little bubble. Touch it there. Okay, now, let's see. Even up here, add a little white here. Okay, so now I wanna work on the hat. Let's go ahead and get our round brush again and dip it into just pure white. Round off the edge. And I'm just going to dot this down here to give it a little texture, let the gray show through. Some heavier white, some not so heavy white. And I'm just touching it, bouncing it off of there. That's a technical term, bounce that brush. And then over here, and we'll add more white as well just to kind of brighten it up. But right now, this will be the first coat. And I'm just dotting it on there. And then around the glass. Okay. I'm going to rinse that out. Now, with the detail brush, I'm going to get it wet and I'm going to use a little gray. And let's go ahead and give this guy a shadow right here. Actually, let's use black. Give him a little shadow. Give the hat a little shadow where it's hitting the cup. And then we'll go ahead and give it some shadow up in here and some, I am just making like little U shape just to follow the cotton around. So it's got a little shadow there. And then in here, it's even darker because it's underneath. And I'll put in a few more lines and we'll just kind of carry that up here. Now I'm just making little U shapes and up here. And up here, up on top, it should probably be less because there's not as much shadow on the top of the cotton. We just kind of want it to stand out more. Okay. And on the bottom one, I rinsed out my brush. I'm going to make the black. I'm not going to flatten it. I'm making the tip round. And let's do the same thing here, where we kind of give it a little bit of texture and shadow. And you can look at the picture too and see the little texture in here and the shadows that it makes. Okay, and I'm going to clean this up a little bit, make it more, I'm going to add a little white and make it gray in here because I don't want the shadow that dark there. Yeah. Now, that's looking good, huh? Okay. I am going to go ahead and take a little bit of white. I cleaned off my brush. I'm going to use a little white up here. I'm going to bring this in a little bit more to make it a little more highlighted, a little more stand out just a little bit more here and across the top. I'm just rubbing it on there. Yep, kind of like that. Give it a little more. Give it a little more personality there. Okay, so now him. Let me see. Let's use a little dark green, and I'm going to make it a leaf. Now this is just because I made the mistake and got paint on my canvas where it wasn't supposed to be. And there's a leaf. And it can be falling, however you want to see it. I see a couple more issues back in here, so I'm going to take a little bit of beige. And I'm just going to try to cover that a little bit with some dark beige. And over here, I don't know how those got there. I tell you, I'm a messy painter. I'm just rubbing it with my finger here. Okay. And looks like it belongs there. Maybe a little white here. And a little beige. Yeah. Alrighty. So now, a little more white over here. Just to kind of get rid of that and kind of blend it in a little more. See? Blends in. Okay. I think what we're going to do next is we need to take, I wasn't going to use white, but let's use black. I'm going to go ahead and get my brush a little damp because my paint is drying up quickly. I'm going to roll it to get a little round. You know what? I'm going to make it a flat edge. Sorry, we're going to make it flat. And let's go ahead and give these guys a little line down the middle, some lines, some veins. And they don't have to be perfect, just a few veins here and there. And I'm just putting thin lines with the very tip of the brush. Like so. And that looks good. Then what we'll do is, let's take the Cad Red, and I'm gonna roll the brush into a circle. And let's go ahead and put in some red berries. And put in as many or as little as you want. Kind of separate them a little bit, because what we're going to do then is we're going to get my brush wet and we're going to get some inky black and roll it up. I think that's a little too much. I'm going to get it off my brush. Okay. Then just kind of in between the berries, let's put a little black in there to show a shadow. And around the berries. And you can kind of blend it into the red. There we go. Okay. Now, this one still needs a little black on him. Just some veins here. You won't see it too much because I made him really dark, which is fine too. And I think, you know what? On the other one, there's some little red stars, and I don't like my little spots I have there. I mean, it looks okay, but I can see it with my eye. So there are some stars that kind of look like this. It's almost like, I'll bring it in like this and like this. And we'll fill it in. Like that. And I'm going to get it wet, and let's do some inky red. And I'm going to do one over here like so. Just because I don't like those marks on there, and I'd rather it be more festive than having black marks or gray marks. Okay. And then maybe one more. I'm not real fond of this one either. Let's do it this way. Make it a little more. There we go. Okay, and a little more red. Let's put one, how about right here? It's like a little, just a little diamond. Kind of looks like a star. Festive. Okay. And I think, let's see, gotta clean that one up just a little bit. Yeah, I kind of like it. And let's see, I think that's about it. I think we can call that done. But I do really like it. I think it's very cute, and I can't wait to put it up in my house. I think it's gonna work out good. What do y'all think? I hope you like it, and I hope you enjoyed it. There it is, the final of my Santa's Martini. It's ready to be signed and go on my shelf. And I hope yours is done too. I can't wait to see yours. Please post it when you get it done. I look so forward to seeing it. Thank you so much for being here. I really do appreciate you. And I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Bye.